Let's start our discussion, everyone. Suresh. Suresh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's continue our topic now.
Yes,
So our last topic was on NAT discussion,
NAT concept. Yes,
and I hope it's clear for you what is
yes,
source
sir.
NAT and destination NAT implementation.
Yes,
So we are trying to complete our lab on NAT. Wait,
sir.
I think outgoing interface concept is complete, I think, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's talk about other option in NAT. Pradipta, please follow the video. If you have any issue in NAT discussion, Pradipta, you can ask your question there. Okay. Pradipta, can you hear me? I'm doing basic configuration first as per topology. Wait. So we have same topology, one 40 gate firewall device, same topology, one 40 gate firewall device with LAN interface and WAN interface. Into this topology, we can try to implement our NAT option. Jaswinder, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yep.
Okay. Okay, let's try to configure IP address on both interfaces. Port number 2, as per topology, we are using as a LAN port. So LAN IP address 200.200.200 dot 1/24 ping service. Port number 3, DSCP ping service. Okay, basic configuration is complete. We can verify our IP address with get system interface command. So we have IP address on port number 2 LAN interface, IP address on port number 3 through DSCP. Okay, so let's continue our NAT concept. So I told you everyone we have two type of NAT implementation in FORTINET firewall device. Two type of NAT. First option is source NAT implementation, and second option is destination NAT. And to configure source and destination NAT, we have configuration option. First option is firewall policy NAT, and second option is central NAT. Central NAT. So right now our focus is on firewall policy NAT Firewall policy NAT implementation. So NAT implementation. And here we'll focus on source NAT first. Then after that, we can go for destination NAT implementation. So we have same topology. Let's continue our topic. So I'm trying to create my policy. Rule 1, incoming interface, outgoing interface, source IP. We are using any right now, destination any. Now services any. So this option is by default selected. It's called outgoing interface concept. With outgoing interface, we are trying to translate our all LAN IP with this outgoing interface IP. So here we are using 172.10.130.191. So you can try first. You can try to establish your traffic. Try to establish your connection. So let's initiate traffic here. IP config 200.255 IP. Let's initiate some traffic here. Google.com. Traffic is traveling through the firewall device. Ping Facebook.com. Traffic is traveling. We can initiate more traffic here. So Google.com. Let's try to access Facebook.com. So you can see everyone, traffic is traveling through the firewall device. So in case we are trying to verify our translation, if you guys remember our command for translation verification in Fortinet, get system session list. This command you can use to verify your translation. So you can see this 200, 200, 255 is trying to travel through the firewall device, and this IP is translated with this 172.10.130.191. This IP address we are using on WAN facing interface. You can see. So I hope this option is clear. Outgoing interface address option. Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now let's talk about next option. It's called dynamic IP pool. Dynamic IP pool. So you can click on plus sign. In dynamic IP pool, we have multiple options. See, we have multiple options: overload, one-to-one, fixed port range, and port block allocation. So multiple options are available in dynamic pool option. Okay, so if you guys remember our outgoing interface concept, wait. If you guys remember our outgoing interface concept, if I'm using this option, with this option, we can translate multiple private IP with single public IP. So on public facing interface, we have IP address 172.10.130.191. 191. So you can see with this IP address, my point is with this IP address, we have limited port number, right? We have port number range from 1 to 65,535, 1 to 1 to 1023. 23, it's a registered port number, and 1024, wait, it's not 1023, it's a 1024. 1024, it's a registered port number, and 1025 to 65,535, it's an unregistered port number. So with this IP, everyone, we have a limited port number, right? Yes or no? Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh. With this IP, we have limited port number, right?
Right.
If inside machine is initiating his traffic, he will get a port number from this range. So we have limited port number. In case in my network, if I have multiple computers, okay, I'm working in a big network, okay, too much traffic. So you can see with this single IP, we have limited port number. If this port number finished, then Suresh, Jaswinder, Pradipta, if port number is finished, then because we have too much traffic in my LAN side network, we have too much traffic. In that case, if this port number finish and inside machine is trying to initiate a new traffic, he cannot access. This is the limitation with this outgoing interface because we have a single IP. With single IP, we have a port number range from 10252 to 65,535. Clear my point, everyone? Pradipta, Jaswinder, Suresh.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, in case if I have multiple public IP, for example, okay, I can buy multiple public IP. Okay, I'm working in a big organization, I'm working in a big network, so I can buy multiple public IP. For example, I can buy 5 public IP because I have a big scenario. For example, 191, 192, 193, 194, 195. So I can buy 5 public IP. Okay, but is it possible to configure 5 IP on a single interface? Is it possible? Everyone?
No.
No? Pradipta, Suresh, we cannot configure 5 public IP or multiple public IP on a single physical port, right?
Yes.
Possible.
Yes.
It's not possible. So what we can
Of
do,
course.
here we can go with dynamic IP pool option. In dynamic IP pool option, we can go with this concept. It's called overload. I can buy multiple public IP, but I cannot configure 5 public IP on a single physical port. That's why we are not using outgoing interface concept. Okay, for this scenario, we are using overload concept. What is overload? So I can buy multiple public IP. I can buy 5 public IP. And you can see with each public IP, we have port range 10252, 1025 to 65,535 port number. So we have port range with each IP address 172.10.130.191. If this IP, this port number is finished, again we have 192. Again for 192, again we have a port range. Then 193, again we have port range 194, 195. So in a big network, we can go with overload concept. I can buy 5 public IP and I can define here this public IP address range. For example, 172.10.130.193 to 172.10.130.197. 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. 5 public IP. You can give a name like overload 11. You can click on OK. So this object you can attach in your translation. So you can click on OK. So now we can try to initiate our traffic for verification. Before initiate our traffic, you need to clear your session here. So command is diagnose system session clear. To clear your old sessions, you can use this command diagnose system session clear. Now we can try to initiate our traffic. Let's initiate. Traffic is traveling. You can see google.com, facebook.com. So traffic is traveling. Our focus is on translation. So we can verify with get system session list. So this time you can see everyone, this inside machine is getting IP address from your range of IP address. Remember 193 to 197. Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh. We have public range 193 to 197. So this machine is getting what? IP address from your range. See?
Yes.
193 IP. So this option, this overload concept, we can use in a big network. Okay, we can buy multiple public IP, but we cannot configure on a physical interface. So we can use this public IP in our translation. you can use overload concept. Now, what is one-to-one? What is one-to-one? One-to-one is like dynamic NAT. Remember our dynamic NAT implementation? If we have 20 private IP address, and if you want to allow everyone to access internet services, in dynamic NAT, you need 20 public IP, and we are not creating static entry in dynamic NAT. We can create a range of public IP address. So if anyone trying to travel outside, any machine is trying to travel outside, it can get any IP address from this pool range, any IP address. This concept is called one-to-one in Fortinet firewall. So here we can go with one-to-one. So you can wait, let's delete this old object. Wait. Now let's create a rule. Again, we have a rule, and now in dynamic IP and pool, we are going with dynamic IP one-to-one. So yes, I'm giving a name for this object, pool one. So I have only 5 public IP, 172.10.130.194 to 172.10.130.198. So we have 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. We have 5 public IP. So any 5 private IP, okay, any 5 machine can utilize this range. So you can click on OK. You can attach this object. You can click on OK. We can try to initiate our traffic. Before initiate, let's clear our session, old session, get system session list. Let's initiate our traffic. Ping google.com. Traffic is traveling. Ping facebook.com. Now google.com, facebook.com. Traffic is traveling. So let's verify. So you can see everyone, this inside machine is getting IP address from this pool range 194. So now as per your configuration, my point is, as per your configuration, your one-to-one concept, here we have only 6 public IP, 5 public IP. So any 5 machine can utilize this range. If you go with fixed port range, so there is a difference. There is a difference in between one-to-one and fixed port range. In one-to-one, you can only define your public IP address information. But in fixed port range, you can define 2 information, your external IP, public IP, and you can define your internal IP. Internal IP also. Okay, my point is, wait. My point is, let's create an object. You can click on here, fixed port range. So there's a difference in between one-to-one and fixed port. In fixed port, you can define private IP address information also. Okay. Now wait. Now we have the name for this object, fix 11, and now public IP. Yes, I have a public IP. Public IP is 172.10.130.193 to 172.10.130.197, and in LAN side I have 200, 200, 285 to 200, 200, 200. This 86 I'm using, okay? 5 private IP, 90. So as per our this fixed port range configuration, this 86 to 90 IP address, they can utilize this public IP address range. They can utilize. So you can click on OK. You can attach this object in your NAT. Okay. Now let's delete this entry, old entry. So we can try to initiate our traffic. I'm trying to ping facebook.com, Jaswinder, Prajipta, Suresh, and I'm not getting reply. See, everyone.
Because we are not 55 or
Yes.
PCI is 55. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. See, we cannot access internet services. Suresh, clear for you? Prajipta,
Yes. Yes.
Suresh. Suresh,
Yes,
I
yes.
cannot access google.com. I cannot access facebook.com. We have policy rule. We have NAT option, but this inside machine cannot ping google.com, cannot ping facebook.com. Traffic is not traveling. Why? Because as per your configuration, NAT configuration only 86 to 90.
80 to
If
90.
they are trying to they are trying to go on internet side, they can utilize this public range. Clear my point? Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh. Let's change
Yes.
IP address now. Let's change IP address. You can check, okay? You can verify, okay? Your translation is working or not. You can verify here, see? So now IP address is changed. IP address now I'm using 88, for example, 88 IP. 88, you can check IP address. IP config 88. This time if I'm trying to initiate my traffic, like facebook.com, google.com, traffic is traveling. Clear this concept, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Traffic
Yes.
is traveling. So 80, 86 to 90. If they are trying to go on internet site, so yes, they can utilize this public IP range. Yes, they can utilize. And see, this inside machine, this 88 can access internet. Now, see. This is called what? Fixed port range. So there is a little difference, okay? You can verify here. We have a little difference in between. In between 1 to 1. In 1 to 1, you can only define your public IP. So any five private machine, if any five private IP address can utilize your public IP. But in fixed port range, we have a great security, you can say. We have great security in translation. You can define your private IP address. Only specific range of IP address can utilize your public IP. Now, next option is what? Port block allocation. This concept is good. And this concept is available in Fortinet. This option is not available in Palo Alto. Is Cisco Firepower? No. Port block allocation concept. What is port block allocation concept? So for example, here in LAN side, we have multiple computers, okay? Multiple computers. And I have single public IP, for example. Single public IP 172.10.130.198. I have a single public IP. So with this public IP, we have a port range 10252 65,535, limited port number. For translation, I'm using single public IP. I want to translate all my private IP address with single public IP. So I can go with outgoing interface, right? I can go with this concept, no problem, outgoing interface option. But in dynamic IP in pool, we have a concept is called port block allocation. So I have a single public IP. With this single public IP, I have limited port numbers. Now, now the scenario is what? In your LAN side, okay, we have these two computers. You can say, for example, these two computers or these three computers, they are initiating, for example, too much traffic. Okay, these are what? They are initiating too much traffic. They are initiating too much connection. They are utilizing too much port number, you can say. Only these three machines, you can say, for example. So I want to limit the port number for each IP. For example, I want to provide 400 port numbers for each IP. They can utilize only 400 port numbers. After 400 port number, if this inside machine is initiating a new traffic, he cannot access internet services. So in port block allocation, we can limit the port number. Clear this concept? Port block allocation, everyone? We can limit the port number for each IP address. Clear now my point? Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh?
Yes.
Okay, let's create an object here. Wait. Let's create an object. Okay, I think I can create any other object here. Wait. So create new port block allocation. So port block 11. It's an object name. I have a single public IP 172.10.130.199/24. Okay, I have single IP 199.172.10.130.199. Okay, here we have a block size. Default option block size is 128 and block per user is 8. I'm not changing anything, everyone. I'm not changing anything here. So when you click on OK, my point is when you click on OK, it will do some calculation in background. I'm not talking about calculation, okay? But it will do some calculation in background and then you will get an output. If you click on OK, you can see here. Now we have block per IP is 472. So as per your information, it will automatically do some calculation in background and it will give you the output. For example, if I'm changing 100 here, for example, 100, 5 here, 5 block per user. You can click on OK. Now you can see we have 604 port number for each IP address. So with port block allocation, you can limit the port number for each IP. It's a good feature. So what I can do here into the scenario, we cannot initiate too much traffic, but I can show you translation. Let's verify. I cannot initiate too much traffic to limit the port number, but we can verify translation is happened or not. So google.com, facebook.com. Okay, google.com. Traffic is traveling. Wait, traffic is traveling. Now you can verify get system session list. So you can see your inside machine is getting IP address. See, everyone. Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh. These options are called source NAT implementation. Jaswinder, these options are called what? Source NAT. And it's a part of firewall policy NAT implementation. Firewall policy source NAT implementation. Firewall policy source NAT implementation. Now we can focus on destination NAT. What is destination NAT scenario? Can anyone help me? Suresh and Jaswinder.
Sir.
What is destination NAT? Where we need destination NAT concept. Remember our discussion destination NAT? We can map multiple servers
In
with
one single
single
public
public IP, right, Jaswinder?
Yes.
Yep.
In
With
destination
the port number, and
with
all
port
this.
number, yes. Destination NAT, DNAT, you can say. In destination NAT, you can map multiple servers with single public IP. So for example, I have this public IP, for example, 196. So in LAN side or in DMZ network, I have multiple servers. Okay, I have web server, DNS server, SMTP server, FTP server. This is what? FTP server. Now this is your DNS, for example. This is your SMTP and this is your web server. So in DNAT, we can map multiple servers with single public IP. So IP address, for example, 200 is 55. For example, it's FTP IP address. So you can map. So this time, if anyone, for example, this outside machine, if anyone from outside will hit onto this public IP address, if this request is for port number 443. So as per your DNet configuration, your firewall will redirect this traffic. Your firewall will redirect this traffic on web server. Or if anyone from outside will hit on same public IP, but if this request is for port number 25, so your firewall will redirect this traffic on SMT. If anyone from outside will hit on same public IP, if this request is for port number 53, a request is for port number 21, so your firewall will redirect this traffic on DNS, this traffic on FTP server onto this IP address. And here we have a service port number 21. Clear my point?
Yes.
Now, in case if we have multiple web servers or multiple FTP servers, then because this public IP and this port number is already mapped with this 55 IP address with port number 21. So this is what standard port number for FTP, everyone? This is standard port number for FTP.
Yes.
If we have multiple FTP server, then for example, you have FTP server 2. FTP server 2, IP address is 200, 200, 256, for example. So into this scenario, we can use DNet with port forwarding concept. Remember our discussion? DNet
Yeah.
with port
Yeah.
forwarding.
Yeah.
You can use any unregistered port number like 8999 I'm using. So this public IP, my point is this public IP, this port number, we can map with this 200, 200, 256 IP with port number 21. This is not a standard port number. So what we can do, you can tell to your outside user. Okay, you can tell to your outside user whenever they will establish connection for FTP. So they can use this port number 8999. Your outside user, they don't know anything. They don't know anything. This traffic will redirect on FTP1 or it will redirect on FTP2. They don't care. Your outside user, they can open their FTP application. They can put this public IP address information here and port number 8999 for this FTP service. This traffic will hit on firewall device. Now, as per your DNet configuration, DNet with port forwarding configuration, your firewall can check this public IP, this port number is mapped with this 56 with port number 21. So firewall will redirect this traffic on FTP2. Remember our discussion, everyone?
Yes.
So now we can try. Now we can try to implement destination NAT here. Okay, wait. But into this topology, everyone, into this topology, we don't have any web server, SMTP, DNS, FTP. So how we can do our testing? Because we don't have, see? How we can do our testing? So for testing, you can use this inside machine. This inside machine I'm using as a telnet server. Okay, we can enable our telnet service. So for testing, I can use this inside machine as a telnet machine, telnet server. So IP address is 200, 200, 288. Right now we are using 88. Now port number 23 because telnet service. So I'm trying to map this public IP port number 23. If anyone from outside will open his FTP application, for example, this person outside, what he can do? He can open his FTP, he can open his telnet application server, now public IP and port number he can use 23. So this public IP, this port number, you can map with this 88 with port number 23. In case if you want to use port forwarding, so yes, we can use your 8999 port number, for example, 8999. So for telnet service, I can map this public IP 8999 with this inside IP address with port number 23. So this is our task we can perform in our lab for testing. Okay, so before initiate our traffic, let's check this inside machine is a telnet server or not. So you can check. So services.msc services.msc, here you can verify telnet service is available or not. It's available because I'm using this topology in multiple batches. So telnet service is available, but in case if you want to enable telnet service in Windows operating system or in Windows 10, so you can open your control panel. You can click on program. You can click on turn window feature on off. Here you can select these services. See, you can verify telnet client, telnet server. This feature is enabled. So you can enable, you can select this checkbox. You can click on OK. After that, you can check your services.msc again. So you can get telnet option here. Right click, properties, status type. You can select automatic, click on apply and click on start. Right now, here it's start. So you can just right click and you can start. Now you can create user account because for telnet service, we need user account here. So default user account is user one. You can see user one. And for user one here, we are using IP address 12345. So if you want to change, you can change, but I'm using 12345. So this machine is ready. This machine IP address is 200.200.288. Now let's go on firewall device for destination NAT configuration. For destination NAT configuration in firewall policy NAT, we can create virtual IP. For destination NAT, here we have a concept of virtual IP. So you can click on create new. You can click on virtual IP. So we can give a name for this virtual IP object, DNAT-IP. For example, it's an object name. Now you can define your external public IP, then map IP. So our public IP, wait, I think I need to delete old. Wait, let me delete this. Our old configuration. Wait. Now, virtual IP, you can click on create new virtual IPs. You can give a name, object name. It's called DNAT-IP1. So now public IP. So yes, I have a public IP as per our topology 172.10.130.196 everyone. 172.10.130.196. Now this public IP, I'm trying to map with this 200, 200, 288. You can check IP address information 88. You can click on OK. Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh, no problem. You can map this public IP with this private IP address. But if you want to use port forwarding concept, you can just enable this option, port forwarding. Port forwarding. You can define your external service port and then map port. So as per our task, 8999, we are trying to map with this port number 23. Clear my point? This configuration. If anyone from outside will hit onto this public IP address with this external service port 8999. So as per our this object, this 196, this port number is mapped with this 200, 288 with this port number 23. Clear my point? Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So you can create your object first, and this object we can use in our policy configuration. You can click on firewall policy. So this time traffic is initiated from WAN side. So you can click on create new. You can give a name WAN to LAN. So this time, as per our task, traffic is initiated from WAN side. It's trying to go in your LAN side network. So this is our direction. So incoming interface is WAN,
Port
right?
3. Port 3, yeah.
Yes. Outgoing interfaces.
Port 2.
Yes. A source. So anyone from outside? Anyone from outside? What about
Yeah.
destination IP? So please help me, Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh. This outside, my point is this outside machine, he don't know anything about this inside machine, right? He can only hit on public IP. Yes or no? Jaswinder, Pradipta,
Yeah.
Suresh. Suresh, outside machine can only hit on public IP, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Outside users, they can only hit on public IP address. They don't have any information about private IP. They can only hit on public IP. So if you go for destination information, so for destination, we can attach our DNAT object. Clear my point?
Yes, sir.
Destination is what? Your DNAT object. So here you can see if anyone will hit onto this public IP address, external service port number 8999. So this public IP, this port number is mapped with this 200, 288 and mapped to port number 23. So you can attach your object services. Right now I'm using any. You can click on OK.
Now,
So here we have a policy. So we can try to initiate our traffic from outside. From outside, let's try to initiate our traffic. Let's check IP address here. So this portion, everyone, this portion is public network portion. So onto this machine, I'm using IP address through DSCP. So this machine can get IP address through Wi-Fi. Let me show you. So ncpa.cpl, you can check. I'm using DSCP option for IP address configuration, I think.
Tapi kayaknya dekat pesan sila tuh bagai
DSCP option.
baru.
Now IP config, we have IP address 172.10.130.52. Same series of IP address we have, and we can verify our connectivity with public facing interface IP 172
here is
172.10.130.191. This is public facing interface IP. Jaswinder, Suresh, Pradipta.
Yes.
So from outside, I can hit on public IP. Now what I can do, I can open a telnet application. So Putty is my telnet application. Here I'm using telnet service. From outside, I'm trying to hit on 10.172.10.130.196 IP. 196. And let's try to hit with this default port number. You can click on OK. Let's try with default port number. In our configuration, we are not working with default port number. External service port number, we are using 8999. So let's try with the default port number, and you can see we cannot access.
Okay.
We cannot access. As per our configuration, 8999. So for telnet service, from outside, I can only hit on to this public IP. So 196 with port number 8999. You can
So is
click
it
on.
security, sir?
Yes, Suresh?
Is it security?
Security.
Yeah, yeah. When we can use the public IP from the outside, is the security means this was security?
See, in real scenario, you will always hit on public IP, Suresh.
Yes.
Okay? And see, right now, you are working with IP address, right?
Yes.
But in real scenario, you don't have IP address. You have a URL link. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You will get a URL link in real scenario. Right now we are working with IP address,
Okay.
but in background it's working with IP address information. So in
Okay.
real scenario, maybe you can get a URL.
Okay.
You can get
Yes.
a URL. This IP, this port number is mapped with this any DNS name, any URL name.
You have DNS.
Yes. But
Yeah.
here we are using IP address. So now you
Okay.
can click on open. If everything is okay, so you will get a prompt. Jaswinder,
Yep.
Suresh, see, we are getting a prompt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Username. So username, we are using
User
user1.
one.
So user1, password 12345. This is inside machine telnet service. Okay, let's check.
Yeah.
CD desktop. Now mkdir virus. You can check here folder. Virus. You can check mkdir. Fortinet lab. Clear everyone?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you can redirect your traffic on your telnet server. Jaswinder, clear for you? Pradipta,
Yes.
Suresh?
Yes. Sir.
Let's take a break for 5 minutes, then we can continue our topic. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
We will continue at 11:05.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone, can you hear me? Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so let's continue our topic now. So firewall policy NAT is complete now. Firewall policy, source NAT, and destination NAT implementation. And same source and destination NAT you can configure with central NAT option. So why central NAT is required? Suresh, any question? Okay, so why central NAT is required? Because we can do all our translation with firewall policy NAT. So why central NAT is required? Before before okay, before start our discussion on central NAT, let's check central NAT is enabled or not by default. So you can check here in your firewall device. Central NAT option is not enabled. You can see central NAT option is not enabled here, and by default it's disabled. By default it's disabled. If it is enabled in your firewall device, so you will get a tab here. It's called central SNAT. You will get a tab here if it is enabled, but by default it is disabled. To enable central NAT, you can go with system option. You can click on feature visibility. Oh, sorry. You can click on setting and you can go with this option. See, central SNAT. See, graphically, you can just enable this option. You can click on apply. With CLI command, if you want to enable central NAT with CLI command, so command is config system setting set central NAT, and now question mark, we have two options, enable and disable. If I'm trying to enable central NAT, for example, Jaswinder, Suresh, Pradipta, if I'm trying to enable central NAT, so you can see we are getting issue. We are getting this message, cannot enable central NAT with firewall policy NAT. So remember always, either you can use central NAT or you can use firewall policy NAT. You cannot use both option at the same time. Clear my point?
Yes.
Jaswinder, you can,
Yes.
either you can use firewall policy NAT or you can use central NAT.
Central NAT. Yeah.
You cannot use both option at the same time. So if we are trying to enable central NAT, we are facing this issue. Why? Because right now we are using firewall policy NAT. See, we have NAT option in firewall policy. See, NAT option is enabled. So let's delete this rule. For example, I don't want firewall policy NAT. Now, so we don't have any firewall policy. We don't have any firewall policy NAT. This time, if I'm trying to enable central NAT, I'm not facing any issue. You can type end command to save your configuration changes. Now you can refresh your page. This time you can verify. This time in firewall policy tab, you are getting a new option, central SNAT. See, central SNAT. This is what central source NAT implementation. And this is called central destination NAT implementation. If our policy NAT, policy NAT is enabled, so this tab is called only virtual IP, only virtual IP. And when you enable central NAT, this tab is called DNAT and virtual IP. Okay. When you enable central NAT, this tab is known as DNAT and virtual IP. If our policy NAT you are using, so this tab is called only virtual IP. So this is the difference. So now here we have central source NAT implementation option, central destination NAT implementation option. Okay, now the point is why we need central NAT. Why we need central NAT? Let's talk about scenario. For example, let's talk about scenario. So where we need central NAT concept. Okay, before discuss central NAT, let's talk about firewall policy NAT concept again. Okay, if you guys remember our firewall policy NAT configuration, if you guys remember our firewall policy NAT configuration, in case if I want to create firewall policy in between port number 2 and port number 1, so yes, I can define this information in firewall policy. For example, incoming interface, outgoing interface, source IP, destination IP, services you can add, then you can take a action allow. So source IP, for example, 200.200.55/32 single IP address object, destination A. So my point is you can define all the parameters. If traffic is allowed, then you can attach your translation rule. So for translation, I'm using outgoing interface, for example, this option for translation. Now again, you are creating a new rule in between port number 2 and port number 1. So incoming interface, outgoing interface, source IP this time 200 dot 10 to 200.200.200.20 range of IP. Destination is any and action is allow. For translation, I'm using outgoing interface option. So my point is every time, everyone, my point is every time, whenever you are creating a new rule, new policy, you need to attach your translation information. Yes, right, everyone? If you are creating 100 firewall policy, 200 firewall policy, 500 firewall policy in between port number 2 and port number 1, you need to attach your translation information every time in your firewall policy. Right, everyone? Clear this challenge, Jaswinder, Pradipta, Suresh?
Yes.
If
Yes.
you are creating 200 firewall policy, 500 firewall policy, every time you need to attach your translation information. That is the
Yes.
issue in firewall policy NAT. So what we can do, we can go with central NAT concept. In central NAT, you can configure your translation information, translation entry on a centralized location. On a centralized location. Let me show you. Wait. Let me show you this option. Central NAT configuration option. Let's try to implement central source NAT. So you can click on create new. Let's verify what options are available in central source NAT implementation. See, you can define your incoming interface here. You can define your incoming interface. Oh, sorry. It's a physical machine. It's a VM machine. Incoming interface. Interface. Then you can see, you can define your outgoing interface information. Outgoing interface. Then we have option for source IP and destination IP. So source IP and destination IP. Now we can create NAT policy on a centralized location. And see, you can define all the parameters, incoming interface, outgoing interface, source IP, destination IP, then you can take an action. See, you can use outgoing interface option or you can use dynamic IP pool. It's up to you. So incoming interface, here I have is a port number 2, port 2, outgoing interface, Outgoing interface is port number 1. Source IP, I'm using any right now. Any. And destination is any. And for translation, I'm using outgoing interface concept. Everyone, Pradipta, Jaswinder, Suresh, can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Yep.
See, here we have single policy rule. Everyone, my point is here we have a single policy rule. One, this is what, for example, rule 1, you can say single policy rule. Into this policy rule, we have incoming interface, outgoing interface, source IP is any, destination IP is any, and for translation, outgoing interface. Now you can see this single NAT rule can handle multiple firewall policy. Can handle multiple firewall policy. I'm not going in every firewall policy, okay, and adding a NAT rule. This option is not available now. You can check here. If I'm creating any rule, firewall policy rule this time, you can check. If I'm creating any rule, yes, I can define all the parameters. If action is accept, traffic is traveling, but you can see NAT option is not available now. Now we have an option central NAT is enabled, so NAT setting from matching central NAT policy will be applied.
Yes. Yes.
So now you can create your rule on a centralized location here. So you can see as per your firewall policy. Wait, as per your firewall policy, now I'm not adding translation option here. I'm not adding translation option here. Now, as per our policy, see, incoming interface, outgoing interface, yes, firewall can match. And now you can see this 200, 255, it's a part of any. This 200, 210, 220, it's a part of any. So you can create multiple firewall policy in between port number 2 and port number 1. You can define any source, any destination. See, in translation, we are using any source, any destination. You can define any source, any destination information. This single NAT rule can handle multiple firewall policy. If you are creating 500 firewall policy, 200 firewall policy, the single NAT rule can handle all firewall policy for translation. Clear my point?
Yes, sir.
Everyone clear my point?
Yes.
That's
Yes,
option.
sir.
The single NAT policy can handle multiple firewall policy. Let's create a rule. Okay, for example, incoming interface. What information you can add in your central NAT configuration? You can add your incoming interface. You can add your outgoing interface, source information. So I'm using any destination. I'm using any for translation outgoing interface address. You can click on OK. Done. Now firewall policy to allow our traffic, firewall policy. So when traffic will hit on firewall device, firewall will check his firewall policy to allow our traffic. But when traffic is traveling private network to public network side, firewall will go and check NAT rule on a centralized location in central SNAT. If there is any entry available, then yes, it can perform translation. So yes, central NAT is enabled. So firewall will check firewall policy. As per firewall policy, traffic is trying to travel port number 2 to port number 3. So when traffic is trying to travel through port number 2, port number 3, traffic is traveling private network to public network. So firewall will check. Firewall will verify. Let me check NAT rule. Is there any entry available onto the centralized location? And yes, entry is available. Incoming interface, outgoing interface, source any, destination any. And for translation, we are using outgoing interface option. So firewall will check translation rule on a centralized location. So my point is this time you are creating multiple firewall policy here. Multiple firewall policy if incoming interface is port number 2, outgoing interface port number 3. So for this, yes, we have central SNAT. If you are creating multiple firewall policy in between, for example, port number 2 and port number 5, so we don't have any NAT rule here. So we need to create. Right now we have a NAT rule in between port number 2 and port number 3. It can match. And it can check the NAT rule information. Yes, available. So now you can see traffic is traveling. You can check your translation rule is working or not. Wait. You can check here. You can verify your connectivity like facebook.com. Traffic is traveling. You can check Facebook, google.com. Traffic is traveling. So your NAT rule is working fine. Clear now my point, everyone? Pradipta, Jaswinder, Suresh.
Yes.
Please
Yes.
go with the video. Okay. If you face any issue, you can ask a question in next class. Okay. So this is what our central NAT implementation. Now you can also implement destination NAT. Same, you can create your object. But this object we are not adding in firewall policy. If you are creating, this is the difference, everyone. This is the difference in between firewall policy destination NAT and central NAT destination NAT. This is the difference. In firewall policy destination NAT, if you guys remember, in firewall policy destination NAT implementation, we can define our incoming interface, outgoing interface, source any. Then we can attach our destination, our DNAT object. Remember? In firewall policy destination NAT implementation, we can attach our DNAT object. But now we are using central NAT. So NAT entry is available on a centralized location. So now this time, if I'm trying to attach DNAT object, option is not available. Why? Because
Because you use
we have a,
central net.
yes,
Central
exactly.
net.
So now you can create your entry here as per your policy configuration, as per your direction. When traffic will hit on incoming, traffic will hit on WAN port. Outgoing port is LAN port number 2. So firewall will check. Firewall will verify. Let me check NAT rule because traffic is coming from outside trying to go on LAN side. So I need to check my NAT entry. Is there any entry available? And traffic is initiated from WAN side. So it's a destination NAT. So firewall will check NAT information here. If it is available, it will do translation. Clear now my point?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is our NAT topic. This is our NAT concept. If you guys face any issue in NAT, in firewall policy, please ask your question, okay? So we complete these 4 topics now. Jaswinder, Pradipta.
Okay, sir.
Next class, we will focus on security profile discussion. Let's continue this topic in next class. Okay, everyone?
Okay, sir.
Pradipta, Jaswinder, Suresh.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
that sir
Yes.
for this setting of eBenz, it's it's free for us. No, we can directly install that exe file in our system and
You
try.
can see, Pradipta, I can help you. Okay, please connect after 30 minutes. Okay, I can help you.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
for
Thanks.
lab setup. Okay, bye everyone. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
Okay, then bye.